Hello and welcome to Plenary News, which gives you a brief oversight of the week's activities from the European Parliament right here in Strasbourg. €1 trillion every year is lost because of tax evasion in the member states. Just imagine how many schools or hospitals could have been built all over Europe with that money. The EPP Group has launched the fight against fraud, tax evasion and tax havens, and this week presented 2 reports with action plans on how to tighten the rules and close the tax gap. In particular, the group wants to draw up a European-wide blacklist of tax havens and increase transparency. Spokesperson Sirpa Pietikainen explained more of the proposals.
It is an automatic exchange of information. It is having tax crimes as a part of money laundering crimes. It is a common corporate tax base in Europe. It is about publish what you pay. It is about dismantling of tax privileges. It is about better administrative cooperation between our member states and better EU regulations.
Chairman Joseph Daul underlined the need for member states to work together with the European Union to create strict common rules.
Thanks to Europe, we have common policies, a single market. These are the fruits of shared labour. The proposals on the table for strengthening the fight against fraud and tax evasion are moving us in the right direction. They are necessary for a united Europe. We could still go a little bit faster. Tax evasion hits all member states. We have free movement of goods and people, of services and of capital. It is therefore logical that we also exchange fiscal information between member states.
The plans therefore include specific ideas for the creation of a tax information system to coordinate national practices without the intention of actually harmonising them. The reports were approved by Parliament and sent to the Commission for further development. On Wednesday, Parliament showed its support for a single supervisory mechanism designed to give the European Central Bank the responsibility of supervising the 17 Eurozone credit bodies and the power to intervene at any time. The proposed measures will prevent banks from overextending themselves and protect taxpayers from having to bail them out, as the EU Commissioner for the Internal Market, Michel Barnier, explained.
Avec la création du mécanisme unique de supervision,
the creation of the single supervisory mechanism ensures joint, impartial and European surveillance of banks, so transnational banks that encounter problems will no longer be solely managed by one member state and its supervisor, but subject to coordination and global oversight.
Sans une approche globale et sans coordination.
Non-Eurozone countries will have the choice to opt in, which Parliament is keen to encourage. Belgian EPP Group member Marianne Thyssen, who is responsible for the regulation, says it brings us one step closer to a true banking union.
The European Parliament has been calling for a banking union for years, and we're therefore very glad to see real progress in the last few months. The European Parliament has always kept its sense of urgency in this dossier. We need rapid progress on the banking union to restore confidence, reinforce the financial sector and make it more credible, inject capital into the economy and better protect depositors.
Further plans for a banking union include a common deposit protection and a single bank resolution mechanism, which would restore confidence in the economy and protect the citizens' savings. Parliament hopes the single supervisory mechanism will be up and running within a year, but before the final vote can take place, the EPP Group wants to ensure that it is 100% democratic.
En bovendien verschaffen wij ons als parlement de nodige ruimte mee.
By postponing the final vote, we keep one card up our sleeve when negotiating with the Council. We want to ensure a strong interinstitutional agreement with the ECB on democratic accountability towards the European Parliament. This is of great importance for democracy, whether it's about access for the Parliament to documents, the investigation rights of the Parliament or the power to nominate a chair and vice-chair. We want clear agreements on the concrete implementation of these before we give our final vote in plenary.
Also this week, Parliament adopted the EPP Group's resolution on the future of renewable energies. It wants renewables to be promoted in the same way across Europe. EPP Group spokesperson Herbert Reul said harmonising the 170 different national promotion schemes that we currently have for renewables would make the support more efficient, save money and send the right signals to potential investors.
Und eine der Antworten wird mit Sicherheit sein.
We have to bring a European perspective to the financial support for renewable energy. We cannot afford to keep up such a complicated system which drives up costs for consumers. This would alienate citizens. We have to stop and think how to make European policy for renewables more realistic.
European Commissioner for Energy Günther Oettinger supported the proposals.
I would be in favor of a single energy market for Europe, and for that we need first of all the grids. We need to make sure we can develop them across borders. We need to define projects of common interest in October. We also need a Connecting Europe. Then there is a possibility of co-financing some networks in the peripheral states, and we will check thoroughly what kind of state aid is really necessary.
Mr. Royal's report also laid the foundations for future discussions on the EU's energy policy after 2020. We are on schedule to achieve a 20% increase in renewable energies. The Parliament rejected the proposals this week to increase that share to 45% by 2030. Mr. Royal agrees this is unrealistic and feels a 30% increase would be nearer the mark.
Der jeden Tag neue Ziele und neue Zahlen immer größer, immer mehr fordert.
Calling for new targets, new figures every day is not the answer. Increasing the share of renewables will only be possible by taking into consideration the costs and prices for consumers.
Rücksicht nimmt auf Auswirkungen, auf Kosten, auf Preise.
He also urged members to factor in the infrastructural challenges for storage, cross-border energy flows and energy supply and demand. The Commission is expected to make proposals for post-2020 targets by the end of this year. As always, more details can be found on our website at eppgroup.eu. Join us again on the 13th of June for more plenary news. Until then, we'll be bringing you regular updates of the EPP Group's activities in Brussels. Stay tuned.